Hi everyone, this is 0.1 multiplying and dividing. Our objective for today is students will be able to multiply and divide multi-digit numbers. We're going to start by focusing on multiplication. This first example that we have, 682 times 7, we only have a single digit to multiply by. So we're going to take it and multiply by each number in the top number, starting from the right-hand side. So we're going to go 7 times 2 is 14. Notice that I put the 1 up top above the 8 because we're going to add it once we've multiplied 7 times 8, which comes next. 7 times 8 is 56, plus 1 is 57. Then 7 times 6 is 42, and I'm adding 5, which gives me 47. Altogether, I get 4,774. Our second problem is slightly different because we have two digits in our multiplier, the number that we're multiplying by. So first, I'm going to always start from the right-hand side. We're going to take 9 times 6, which is 56. I'm bringing that 5 up top again. Then I'm going to do the same thing. 9 times 7, which is 63, plus 5 is 68. Then I'm taking 9 times 3, which is 27, adding 6 to give me 33. 3,386. Now, that's only been multiplied so far by the 9. Since I have two digits in 49, I have to have not just one row in my answer, but I need two rows in my answer. The first one is representing the 9 and the second is representing the 4. I've used the 6, I've used the 5. I don't want to get myself mixed up, so I'm crossing them out. So now we're going to take and multiply the 4 times all of our numbers. We're going to go 4 times 6, which is 24. I've moved over in my place value, so I need to line up my answer underneath that same place value, 24. Then I'm going to multiply 4 times 7, which is 28, and add my 2, which gives me 30. Then I'm multiplying 4 times 3, giving me 12, and I add 3, which is 15. Since I have these two different rows, we're going to put them together using addition. There's nothing in this place value to add to the 6, so it's going to stay as a 6. Then 8 plus 4 gives me 12, and I'm carrying the 1. 1 plus 3 plus 0 gives me 4. 3 plus 5 gives me 8. And there's nothing to add to this 1, so it's going to stay a 1. 18,426. This last example for multiplication has now a 3-digit multiplier. In our first ones, we only had one row, then two rows. Since we have 3 digits, we need 3 rows. The first one represents everything in the top number multiplied by 8. The second one represents everything in the top number multiplied by 6. And the third one represents everything in the top multiplied by 2. So here we go. 8 times the 2 gives me 16. 8 times the 3 gives me 24, plus 1 is 25. 8 times the 7 gives me, let's see, 8 times 8 is 64, so 8 times 7 is 56, plus 2 is 58. Now we're going to go 6 times 2, and I have moved over in my place value, so I'm lining up my answer in that same place value. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 3 is 18, plus 1 is 19. 6 times 7 is 42, plus 1 is 43. I'm going to move over one more time in my place value, looking at the 2, and this is my third row. I'm going to line up my answer in that place value as well. 2 times 2 gives me 4. 2 times 3 gives me 6. 2 times 7 gives me 14. When I go to add all 3 rows up, I need to be careful to add straight down. 6 plus nothing gives me 6. 5 plus 2 plus nothing gives me 7. 8 plus 9 is 17, plus 4 more is 21. 2 plus 5 is 7, plus 3 is 10, plus 6 is 16. 1 plus 4 is 5, plus 4 more is 9. And then I just have a single one here that comes straight down. 196,176. Now, when it comes to division, we're going to do the same type of situation. We're still going to use our multiplication, but we're kind of undoing that. But we are going to go again one place value at a time. This time we're focusing on the first place value all the way to the left on the inside. The outside number is called your divisor. The inside number is called your dividend. So we're going to look at our divisor of 5, and we're going to start with the first place value in our dividend. I say, does 5 go into 4? My answer to that is no, so that means it goes in 0 times, and I put a 0 above the 4. Now, since it doesn't go in any times, I'm going to look at the next place value together with that number 4. So I'm looking at the number 42, and I ask myself, how many times does 5 fit into 42? I know that 5 times 8 is 40, and so that's the value I'm going to place up top. As I look at that, I'm going to look to multiply because we're going to do some long division, and I'm going to multiply this number 8 up top times the 5, my divisor, which gives me 40. Your next step is to take that 40 away from the 42, the place values that we're looking at. And so that's going to give me 2. Now I'm going to use my next place value, which has a 7 in it, by bringing down the 7 and putting it next to the remaining 2. I know that 5 goes into 27 5 times because 5 times 5 is 25. So I'm going to put a 5 above that place value that we're working in and say 5 times 5, and I'm lining it up. I subtract, and that's again going to give me 2. Now at this point, there's no other place values to work with, but I still have this remainder of 2. Anytime that happens, you can add a decimal point followed by a 0. So I'm going to extend my long division. This decimal point is going to come straight up into my answer as well, so I'm going to place it there. And then I have a number to bring down into this new place value. So now I'm looking at 20. I know 5 goes into 20 4 times. So I'm going to put my 4 up top. 4 times 5 is 20. When we subtract, we get a 0. If you didn't get a 0, you could add another place value just like we did by adding a decimal and a 0. If you continue to have to add zeros, you can stop at 3 decimal places. That will have the amount of accuracy that we need. We're going to do one final problem that's a little bit bigger. Now we're working with the number 409 as a dividend and 12 as the divisor. So I'm looking for how many times does 12 fit into 409. I'm going to start with the place digit for 4. I know that 12 does not fit into 4. So again, I'm going to say 0 times. And I'm going to look at the next place value together with the 4. 12 goes into 40 3 times. But if I didn't know that, I could quickly make a list. This list represents 12 times 1, 12 times 2, 12 times 3, and so on. If you make a list, that'll help you as you progress in your division. So I'm choosing 36, which is 12 times 1, 2, 3. 12 times 3 goes here, which is 36, and like we did before, we're subtracting. Now 40 minus 36 gives me 4, and I bring down the next place value. I know from the list that I made that 12 goes into 49 4 times because it gives me 48. So I put 4 above that place value, 4 times 12, and write it down below. Then we subtract, giving me 1. And again, I'm out of numbers to work with. I'm going to add a decimal and a 0 up at the top here. Remember, the decimal goes straight up into your answer, and then we can bring that 0 down. Now I'm working with the number 10. 12 does not go into 10. So again, I say it fits 0 times. I mentioned earlier that you could add another 0 on the end. Let's do that. Bring it down. And now we're looking at 100. I can look back over to my list and find the number that's closest to but not over 100, which is the number 96. That's 8 times 12. I put that up top, write down 96. I'm going to subtract and I get 4. Now notice again I could add a 0, bring it down, gives me 0, bringing me right back to 3 times 12, which is 36. And again, I'm going to get a 4. Here's where we have hit 3 place values after the decimal, and we can stop. So our final answer, which is a truncated answer, meaning it stops even though the decimal continues on, is 34 and 83 thousandths.